And he, despite his terror, cannot cease ravening through century after century. Who is he? He is man. I'm sorry to say, man. You cannot teach an old dog new tricks. I understand that if you say man, what will be the context? You run the risk of being arrested for using sexist language. But I cannot but say man. That was what I learnt at school. He stands for man. Terror is extreme fear. Man is terrified of a state of no civilization. Man wants the security, the protection of civilization. At the same time, he cannot cease, he cannot stop ravening through century after century. Ravening means devouring, destroying, pillaging, plundering. On the one hand, man wants the protection of civilization. On the other hand, he cannot help destroying civilization. Ravening, raging, uprooting, devouring, plundering, destroying, annihilating, pulling up from the roots. And what is the result? The desolation of reality, the emptiness of reality, the nothingness of reality. This is what happens when a civilization is completely annihilated. I would like to draw your attention to the concept of the gyre developed by W.B. Yeats in his book, A Vision. A gyre is a spiral, a vortex, a cone. One end of the cone is a point. The other end of the cone is a circle. W.B. Yeats attempted to understand the rise and fall of civilizations using the mystical paradigm of the cone or the gyre. Every civilization moves from one end of the cone to the other, from the point to the circle, from the point of maximum concentration to the state of maximum distribution, and consequently to disorder, chaos, destruction. W.B. Yeats held that the gyre is the mystical law which controls the fates of all civilizations, of the past, of the present, and the future. Every civilization is doomed to collapse into disorder and chaos ultimately. And the paradigm of the gyre successfully explains why and how civilizations rise and then fall. We now come to a very important line of the poem. Egypt and Greece, goodbye. And goodbye, Rome. If I were a question paper setter, I would choose this line as an annotation passage. What is the poet trying to convey here? The three most important civilizations of the ancient world, Egypt, Greece, and Rome, ultimately fell. The ancient Egyptian civilization flourished around 3000 BC. The ancient Greek civilization flourished around the 5th century BC. The ancient city of Rome was founded as early as the 8th century BC, though the Roman civilization had its heyday much later. But what happened ultimately? Goodbye. All the great civilizations of the ancient world, Egypt, Greece, and Rome, had their fall, came to an end. This is the inevitable law of the gyre. What the poet says here is important. What the poet does not say here is even more important. I think I said that all civilizations have to rise and then fall. And that is the paradigm, the mystical paradigm of the gyre. I have to correct myself. There is an exception to this law, and that exception is India. India rose, but India never fell. India never came to an end. The Indian civilization is eternal, is immortal. Once, when I was explaining this line, a student stood up and asked me how the poet could differentiate between Egypt, Greece, and Rome on the one hand, and India on the other. How could the poet claim, without actually saying so, that Egypt, Greece, and Rome have come to an end, but India continues to live? I agreed with her that she had a point. This is certainly a very valid question. I shall answer this question by posing a counter question, or rather a series of counter questions. If the sun god Ra visits Egypt today, would he be identified by the people of Egypt? And would he feel comfortable in the Egypt of today? If the god Zeus visits contemporary Greece, would he be recognized by the people of contemporary Greece? And would he feel at home in the Greece of today? If the god Jupiter visits 21st century Rome, would anybody identify him? Would anybody know him? And would he feel happy and comfortable in contemporary Rome? On the other hand, if Rama, if Lord Rama were to come to India today, people are sure to flock around him, fall at his feet and worship him. And he is certain to feel very comfortable in the India of today. And he may even feel especially happy that they are building a new temple for him in Ayodhya. I would like to pause for some time and ask why India has survived while other civilizations, while Egypt, Greece, and Rome collapsed. India has not just survived, India has flourished. And you must remember that India was under foreign rule for 1,000 years. Usually, 100 years of foreign rule is sufficient to destroy a civilization. What about the civilization of the Native Americans? The civilization of the indigenous peoples of South America? The civilization of the Aboriginals of Australia? The Aboriginals of New Zealand? How come that Indian civilization survived? Not just survived, but flourished. even during the 1,000-year period of foreign rule. I would like to recite a sloka attributed to Shankara. I quote, Shlokarthena pravakshyami eduktam granthakotipi brahma satyam jagan mithya jivo brahmaiva na faraha. Unquote. I shall tell you in half a sloka what is explained by collections of books. Brahman is truth. The world is unreal. There is no difference between Jivatma and Brahmatma, Jivatma and Paramatma. As students of W.B. Yeats, it is not necessary for you to memorize the entire sloka. But I would advise you to familiarize yourself with the key line of the sloka. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Brahman is truth. The world is unreal. This has been the guiding principle of Indian civilization. And it is because of this principle that Indian civilization has flourished, has expanded. We have always been taught that what we do not see is more important than what we see. That the soul is more important than the flesh, than the body. That the spiritual is more important than the material. The contrast between the other great civilizations of the world and the Indian civilization could not have been more sharp. Swami Vivekananda was fond of pointing out that there was a time when the whole world trembled at the sound of the Roman legions. But now the spider weaves his web where once the Caesars ruled. Egypt, Greece, and Rome focused on material appearances and hence ultimately collapsed. The Indian civilization focused on the spiritual reality and hence has gone from strength to strength and is in fact going from strength to strength.